Hi everyone, my name is Elike Smith. Today we'll be looking at the AI tools you will need for everyday work. Each tool excels in one specific area, but figure it out. Which tool works best for what task? Usually, it takes months of trial and error. So I will show to you one thing each tools work better than alternatives. So you will walk away with a clear mental model for when to use what. Okay, I have grouped these tools into 4 categories across 2-part series. They are just too much to cover, but this video covers everyday AI and specialist AI, while part 2 covers the remaining 2 categories. Let's get started. We kick things off with everyday AI. These are your general preferred chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. And while they seem interchangeable, there are specific things they do best actually become quite distinct. Starting with the OG, ChatGPT. While Gemini and Claude are arguable just as capable in raw power, ChatGPT still owns the crown in one area. It is the most obedient model. In plain English, ChatGPT drops fewer balls when you hand it a complex checklist. Other models will just be as smart while you give them a lengthy set of instructions, and they will sometimes skip a step or decide what they know better. If you want proof of this, just ask each model to optimize a rough prompt for itself. ChatGPT will generate a noticeably longer and detailed prompt because it knows it can handle the complexity. ChatGPT thinks longer because it is actually checking everything, including the requirements, and follows each instructions to the letter. Gemini, on the other hand, often takes shortcuts. You can test run this yourself with something as simple as optimize this prompt for ChatGPT. Insert the model number here. Here is the rough prompt. Diving to real-world example, I gave both ChatGPT and Gemini the same complex prompt, a high rubric with dozen requirements. ChatGPT delivered every single one. Gemini output looks like it's correct at first glance, but when I check it against my original list, it has quietly dropped a few rows. That's the key difference. ChatGPT doesn't decide which instructions matter, it just follows them. Here is a second simple example. Sometimes when you explicitly tell Gemini to search a word, it just doesn't. Which is why, since Gemini and Google Search are both Google products, right? Whereas ChatGPT, when you enable a web search, it performs the web search every single time. I know this is a small example, but it is a downstream from ChatGPT called superpower. Obedience means you can trust the behavior you ask for. So as a rule of thumb, every task has a lot of moving parts, and getting one wrong breaks the whole thing. Start with ChatGPT. Next up is Gemini. While ChatGPT wins on obedience, Gemini wins on multimodality. In plain English, Gemini is able to process a massive amount of mixed media like video, audio, images, and text natively. Take a look at this table. You will see that only Gemini can handle all 4 types of media natively. It is able to listen to audio, watch video, while ChatGPT and Claude use roundabout ways to access their information. What's more, Gemini massive 1 million token context window means it can handle large video recordings, long hour audio recordings, full slide text. Altogether, that will literally choke other models. Gemini can ingest a video and turn it into text. Let's take a step further. Imagine you just finished a weekly meeting. You have a video of the call, a 20-slide deck, and a photo of the session. You can upload all three and ask Gemini to summarize what was discussed, pull out the key decisions, and draft the follow-up email. Gemini is the only tool that can synthesize all these in one go. I just have to point out Gemini raw thinking capability sometimes feels slightly behind ChatGPT, but when the task involves video, audio, or massive files, the trade-off is obviously worth it. Rounding up the everyday AI category, Claude. Claude superpower is producing higher quality first drafts than the other models. In plain English, that means that Claude first attempts is usually closer to done. This superpower shows up in two areas. First, coding. Here's a fun fact. The latest version of Gemini beats the older version of Claude in every single benchmark score, except for the coding part, which is crazy. So, obviously, Anthropic has clearly figured out something relating to coding the others haven't. And in practice, developers universally agrees that Claude writes functional code on the first try, more consistent than alternatives. This is a real-world example. I needed to bulk export conversations from a customer service platform, but the support team said only developers can do it. I described problem, and Claude not only gave me a step-by-step instructions, but also wrote a script in Go that worked on the first try without me as a developer coding the program. Another example, I asked all three models to turn a static image into an animated chart, and Claude performed the best on the first try. So basically, anything that requires generating working codes tend to favor Claude. Put it, when it comes to diagrams, you can ask Claude to generate mermaid codes, which you can then paste directly towards a ScaleDraw to get clean visuals in minutes. Secondly, polishing copywriting. Beyond code, Claude produces written drafts that sound human and need fewer revisions. When you need to tighten an argument or match a specific voice, Claude just gets it. Put simply, it's essentially good at style matching. Once you share an example of an existing work, it replicates your tune almost perfectly. We should never use tools just for the sake of using tools. We only add them to our toolkit when they solve an actual problem we have. Here's a quick recall of three models and when to use them. If the task has a lot of moving parts and getting one wrong breaks the whole thing, start with ChatGPT. If the input in video, audio, or messy files, Gemini is the only everyday AI tool that processes it natively. If you need working code or polished copy on the first try, start with Claude. On to the second category, specialist AI. Before diving into it, let's clear up some common misconceptions. Tools like Complexity are not fundamental models. This is a simple visual OpenAI frontier of AI lab developed by the GPT family of models. They also create ChatGPT as a user-friendly outlier. Perplexity is different. If fine-tune existing fundamental models for speed and accuracy and is optimized for search, their own Sonar model, for example, is just a fine-tuned version of Meta's OpenWay Llama model. So on that note, Perplexity superpower is finding accurate information fast. In plain English, the general purpose chatbots are built for reasoning, while Perplexity is built for fetching information. Going back to how I use the three everyday AI tools. Let's say Gemini or ChatGPT helps me brainstorm and outline. Claude produces the final draft. Perplexity in this case is the search scalpel that verifies information like whether Gemini context window is 1 million or 2 million tokens. In case you are curious, consumer gets 1 million while enterprise gets 2 million. Protect, you can use Google style search operators like a site called reddit.com to narrow your results to a specific source. Finding accurate information fast think of Perplexity as a replacement for Google AI mode, not as a replacement for everyday AI. Rounding up the specialist AI, Notebook LM. Its superpower is that it only answers from the sources you give it, meaning it won't make things up. Think of it as a word garden. You upload your sources and Notebook LM answers questions using only those documents. It can't really hallucinate because it has no outside knowledge to draw from. Going back to the visual around how Perplexity is optimized for search, Notebook LM uses a fine-tuned Google or Gemini model that minimizes hallucinations. For instance, whereas like Google, before publishing marketing materials, I will upload the final draft alongside the source document and ask Notebook LM if the draft makes any claim that contradicted the sources. And when it catches these tiny discrepancies, just perfect. Other AI tools must have missed it. I use similar workflows today for my videos. Before I start filming, I upload my script and all my research into Notebook LM and ask it to flag anything not directly supported by the source material. The obvious carve-out here is that the output is only as good as the source we upload. So if the sources are incorrect, Notebook LM is going to be confidently incorrect. So the rule of thumb here is, if the accuracy matters more than creativity and you have source materials to check against, use Notebook LM. There are more few specialist AI tools I use, like Gamma for permutations, 11 Labs for voice cloning, Zapier and NAN for automation, Escalatra and Nicklin AI for quick visuals. In our next video, I will talk about the other two categories of AI in part 2. So keep an eye for that. See you on our next video. I have a great time. Bye bye.